We're going to take the next 10 to 12 minutes, 10 to 15 probably, to talk about Carl Rogers' concept of self. We're going to use that to answer the question about how some people become seekers of approval for others and why that becomes a constant problem. Then we're going to give you some proactive tips, some things that you can do about it. We're going to split this up probably into two videos, about six minutes or so in each video. I talk about these things in a number of my classes, particularly in my Introduction to Psychology class, and I thought this would be good information for the general public. So let's get into it. Carl Rogers' theory of self has a number of components to it. The first part is that he believes we have these two parts of self. There's the real self, and then there's the ideal self. The real self is our authentic version of us, who we actually are, and then the ideal self is who we think we should be, and this has been programmed by a number of conditions, which I'll talk about that in a second. But it's who we think we should be, not who we think we should be in the future. It's who we think we should be right now at this very moment. So if you think you should be something right now at this moment, and you are that, then you're going to feel great. Your self-esteem is going to, be intact. Your self-image, your self-concept is all going to be all good. But if you think you should be a certain way right now and you're not, then that's going to create all kinds of discomfort. And it's going to create anxiety, and it's going to create depression, and it's going to create guilt. And the thing that's sort of sad about it is, if you're thinking that you should be this right now, you can't. Because this moment right now exists right now, and you're not going to be able to change this moment. You're going to move on to the next moment. So essentially, it will be like crying over spilled milk. There are other things that Carl Rogers expresses that you can do to help kind of balance this congruence. We all want to be fully functional, or the best that we can be. The old Army slogan, be all that you can be. Carl Rogers believes we have the desire to do that, and that comes with this idea of being congruent. And congruence would be if our real self and our authentic self are lined up. But there are things in our environment, people in our environment, and traits that they can have that can help increase the likelihood that we would be congruent. He said there's three essential things that we need somebody or people in our life to have. They need to be empathetic, and empathy means I feel you. I'm able to listen to you and understand your point of view and what you're going through, and I can do that even if I've never been in the situation you've been in. A lot of us can sympathize. It's not really too hard to understand what it's like for you if you're going through a breakup, if I've been through a breakup myself. But a person who can empathize can understand what you're going through, put themselves in your shoes, even if they've never been in that situation. And if they have been in that situation, they can put themselves aside and realize that you're going through this situation in a very unique way, a different way than they went through it. So there's that one. And then the other ingredient, these ingredients to me are like soil, sunlight, and water are to a plant. The soil, though, is going to be unconditional positive regard. Do you have someone in your life that will accept you no matter what you do? Now, you might automatically go to parents, and parents, you might be thinking, yeah, I have unconditional positive regard, unconditional love for my baby. But you got to think about it. Just because you say you have it doesn't mean that is what your child experiences. And we're going to talk about how that might be incongruent in a bit. But unconditional positive regard means I accept you, care for you, esteem you no matter what you do, and you experience that esteem for me no matter what you do. Then the other one that we need to mention is that this person or these people in your life are genuine. They keep it 100. They're authentic. Now, I don't think anybody can actually be 100. You can't be 100% authentic. I don't think so. Well, maybe you can. Maybe Carl Rogers would say you can, but I don't think you can, because I think we have too many things under the iceberg that we're not aware of. Anyways, debatable, I suppose. These three things, if those things exist, that's going to help you have some level of congruence and a more positive version of self. But then there's this thing called conditions of worth. And as we start our next clip, we're going to talk about conditions of worth and how that creates an imbalance, and then we'll get into things that you can do to help keep the balance. See you on the next clip.